Hello everybody, and welcome back to the OS World Cup 2024. We are here with yet another Saturday match through our multitude of them taking place today. We still have quite a few left for you all. We are here with Canada and Kazakhstan, our 6th seed and our 27th seed here this afternoon. Well, afternoon if you are in North America time. I am Chili Repair, joined by iFlame for this match. Good afternoon, officially actually, right now. For Central.
Yeah, good afternoon in North America. And let's talk about the teams quickly. Kazakhstan is a team that keeps improving year after year. This is their second year in a row qualifying. Last year, they barely squeaked in at that 32nd seed, this time improving to 27th. And of course, notably, Kamenchik is their star player. You're going to expect to see Kamenchik in pretty much every single map, but some other good players as well. You've got, of course, So Far So Good, who's been performing well, along with the fake Fragrance of Page, not the Korean one. It is actually Revexi. And of course, Canada, the perennial top 6 team, looking to see if they can do the same again. They have the same core 3 as always in Zudinator, Silas, and Ryuke. However, different support this time around. Dark Karate, a new up-and-coming player that has had a lot of excitement. Sari is back from 2022. And then, of course, Cut Paper and Nick making returns as well.
These are two teams that had a pretty okay time in qualifiers overall, despite what the seed disparity might show here. Canada, very clearly the team with the upper hand in terms of that overall team skill cap and ability. They did take 11 of the 11 maps comparatively in qualifiers, but this is the round of 32, which means that we are actually going down from that level of difficulty, meaning that Kazakhstan, being as good of a team as they are, actually has a pretty good shot of picking up a few points today. They were decently matched up on DT and had a pretty good time overall on the Nomad 3 from qualifiers. The 2 points of difficulty that may concern me a little bit for Kazakhstan today would be that hidden pool overall and any precision maps as well in here. So I like this hidden 1 ban as a start from Kazakhstan. They know exactly where they want to avoid against Canada, and it's understandable.
Yep. And you mentioned the precision. That was one of the poorer maps for Kazakhstan. Canada had the number 1 score on that Hard Rock 2. Sari, who I mentioned they've brought back from 2022, is there largely for the precision, is an incredible precision player. For Canada, I think the bans are pretty open in my mind. I think it's generally best against lower seeded teams to just ban out their most comfortable map. As Canada, you expect them to be able to play pretty much every map in this pool at a relatively comfortable level. Kazakhstan, at least best map in qualifiers was that Nomad 3, so we might see a Nomad 3 ban coming out here. Instead, they're going to ban out the DT2. DT, another one of the skill sets that were stronger for Kazakhstan. I expect they're going to look to pick into some of the DTs if they can. But now we're just waiting on the first pick. And there are quite a few options for Canada. I believe they have the first pick. Correct me if I'm wrong.
But I would say they do. Kazakhstan had first ban?
Yeah, okay. So in terms of picks for Canada, obviously, hidden 2, always... Oh,
it is Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan
Okay.
first pick. So
going for that first ban.
Let me take a bit of a turn here. In terms of Kazakhstan's picks, the Nomad 3 is open. The DTs are open. I think those are the kind of maps they want to look for. Something like the Hard Rock 1 is something Canada didn't do amazing on, but Kazakhstan really struggled at. And the free mods have historically been very good for Canada, especially in the early rounds. They have very much a history of overmodding every single free mod in the first 2 rounds, no matter what the free mod is. And so in my mind, it's Nomad 3, DT1, DT3 are going to be their best options, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, Kazakhstan, very mechanically favored team. That's exactly where the majority of their strengths lie. They are certainly not the types to go into, again, we kind of mentioned those hiddens or that precision hard rock, and maybe not even necessarily based on their own strengths and weaknesses, just the fact that Canada has such a roster for that sort of thing. But We talk about it a lot. Canada's a really good early stage team. This is a country that has taken out some powerhouses through these early stages in round of 32, round of 16, and even quarterfinals in previous years. And to have this first round matchup against Canada and to be able to be successful in your starting picks for Kazakhstan would be absolutely huge for them. That is a feat that not many teams are able to really come up strong on, as they go in for that Nomad 2 to start, and this is understandable to go into Burn Your TV to start off here. This is a little bit more of a speed-focused map with the mechanics, 244 BPM on this by Silverboxer. And this is exactly what I was talking about, right? Kazakhstan wants to go into these mechanically favored maps. They want to go into these tapping favored picks here, and I think that's where they're going to find the most success over the course of this pool, albeit when they don't have a whole lot of maps to go through and only 5 points to win the match with this size of pool. And it is very important to get these opening picks done and have them be successful, as we see people already starting to fill out the lobbies. The familiar faces starting to be welcomed in here. We got Kamenshik and Fragrance 0 of Page, and then Zudinator, Xylus, Nick 1324 on the side of Canada right now. What are your thoughts on these remaining players, I think?
Yeah, remaining players, and I think we're almost certainly going to see Ryuke as the last player for Canada. I would be slightly surprised to see Zudi stay in, but she has been practicing her speed. I do remember last year she got an 80% accuracy FC on one of those DT speed picks. Ended up with the highest score in the lobby, so could do that here, but I don't think that needs to happen. Pikapon coming in, and maybe no Ryuke would be surprising. As for Kazakhstan, I think Plumbyre makes a lot of sense, is kind of their go-to tapping player. And as you said earlier, I love the pick. Yes, Canada do have their speed players. It seems like they're potentially missing Ryuke today if he's not in. But for Kazakhstan, Kamenshik had the 10th best score on the DT3 in qualifiers, which was that speed-focused DT pick. And so they're going to look towards Kamenshik to qualify for this one. So far, so good. Going to come in rather than Plumbyre. Makes a lot of sense as well. So far, so good. Plays most maps for Kazakhstan, although I don't think play the tapping, but a very good first pick for Kazakhstan, and I think this is probably going to be one of their best chances to get an early point off Canada.
Yeah, being a Silverboxer map, this map takes a different form than a lot of the other speed picks, especially different from the DT picks. This is very burst focused. It's very aim focused. If any of you all are familiar with Silverboxer mapping, there is a reason that the rosters are the way that they are here. And Kamenshik just being the strongest player on Kazakhstan makes sense. They are such a high-performing player for that roster and will be across every map here. But having someone in like Pikapon on this map in place for Ryuke, especially on an early stage map, is probably just due to, in part that focus on the bursts, maybe a little bit more aim heavy in here. Same thing with Zudinator. And you've got the strong tapping on the side for Canada too, just in case the staples are here again. Xylus and Nick, we talked about, very strong with the tapping in general. And we will kind of see this starting out right here. Some of these shorter bursts, but it's very aim focused. This is very Silverboxer-esque. It's breakcore. So you're kind of expecting these quick switches between the sliders and the jumps and all the bursts, and that's where you're really going to get that difference from those pure stamina maps that you would maybe see in other slots or other speed picks in here. Starting off strong for Canada on the act.
Yeah, this map does have a few kind of slightly awkward sliders as well, and some of those longer sliders do have follow points that you need to hit, so I'd say more so than usual, this speed map has definitely some potential for random slider breaks throughout the map rather than just misses on the burst. But we do see the first miss coming out from Revex. It's going to give the edge over to Canada as we get into the trickier section of the map. Really dense stamina may start to become an issue, but accuracy really good for Canada. Zudinator, massive improvement on the speed compared to what we saw last year, but Kazakhstan does still have 3 FCs going strong. It's going to be a miss for Xylus. Traded back now, but Turnfist trades it right back, and Canada is going to hold on to their lead for the time being.
The only play left on Kazakhstan on Kamenshik right now. Fragrance of Page taking a drop there as well, and that leaves 3 up for Canada right now. Nick, Pikapon, and Zudi all high accuracy, 99+%. Pika 99.88, the highest in the lobby right now, with the exception of Conry, who is at 99.89 matching, but not on an FC. And while that's going to put Kazakhstan in the back for now, it's going to make it possible for them to come back into this in the final quarter here if we see some breaks on Canada. With the strength from the beginning of the map, however, it's already looking very good for our 6-seeded team into the start of this Nomad 2 pick here. Again, 3 players holding. Fragrance of Page finding another break. And that is slowly closing the window of opportunity for Kazakhstan right now. 600,000 score in favor of Canada continues to climb. As Zudi finds a break, though, it's going to slow it down, but I think this will still maintain for them.
Yeah, and Peekapon, one of the new additions to Canada, has improved so much in the last year especially, is one of those players that has played on these open rank Canadian teams for so long and has quickly come out as one of the stronger Canadian players. Incredible accuracy, 1x100 on the map, and as we expected, very nice score from Kamenchik, but unfortunately the support wasn't there, and Canada is going to get an early break point. They now have a pick of their own, and they have so many options. There's Hard Rock 2. I think the Hidden 2 is going to be good for them, and honestly I think most of the free mods are going to be good for them as well, although if they are going into the free mods, I prefer free mod 1 and 2 over the third.
Exceptional stuff from Conray on the side of Kazakhstan there. 100 alongside Peekapon. Unfortunately, just finding that slider break there. SS potential on Conray there. But great stuff from Peekapon and Nick on that map. The double FC for Canada coming up big to give them that score lead off of map number 1. That was over 700,000 score in their favor, which is quite respectable on a Nomad 2 pick. Canada going to go into that Nomad 3 up next. We are going into, I would say, a techier focused map, and then this is also a really big strong point for a player like Peekapon, going into even a light tech styled, almost alt-esque tech map. Very much plays into the strength of players like Peekapon and Zudinator and Dark Karate, who is another player we are looking for on this map. Just joins immediately there. Kamenchik, the one staying in for Kazakhstan here again, talked about how much they are going to just be perma-lobbied for that team here. They are by far the best player on that roster, and one of the best players in qualifiers overall, as far as I was concerned. Actually, I want to say that they were even in the single-digit performers this year.
Not quite. Kamenchik
it was close, I thought.
Individual.
Oh, okay, that's pretty freaking good, though.
But,
Top
yeah,
20,
very good.
Yeah. I think they were single on maps. That's what it was. They had a couple maps that they really, really went in on.
Yeah, Kamenchik was 5th overall on the GT3, so some really great scores, but this is an interesting pick. I have to say, not one that was on my radar. This is, the Nomad 3 is the only map that these two teams were close on in qualifiers, but as you mentioned, this is a much more of a tech-focused alt pick. You do have some really tricky sliders, pretty heavy on the aim control, fair bit of finger control as well, and very spiky into the KI sections. We're going to see Dark Karate making the first OWC appearance, and Plombier as well. I think so far so good. Should be the last player for Kazakhstan. Has been, I think, for the most part, their second strongest player after Kamenchik. And we'll see. I think it's either going to be Turnifus or a Rek'Sai, but likely Turnifus to sub out here.
I can see it, and the roster is looking to be set. Again, some of the newer players for Canada in on this one. Again, looking to switch up this roster as much as possible, get people playing time, get them in for maps early, start to get those cycles through. It's a really good strategy for a team like Canada who maybe wants to get some in-map experience on these early stages, especially with who Canada or Kazakhstan could potentially be facing next round, which is either Poland or Ukraine, two other very strong early stage teams. So you want to get these players in lobby now for some experience through. This is good rosters on both sides. We talked about the Nomad 3 potentially being a point of moderate contention for these two based on qualifier scores overall. Canada just barely having the advantage on certain maps, Nomad 3 being one of them. Although a slightly different map in terms of styling, we are really looking for that focus on the alts and light tech we mentioned earlier. So That's, again, big for Pikapone, who played well on that first map, as well as looking for a player like Zudinator, who usually stands out on this sort of thing for Canada's first pick.
Yeah, this is a very long map as well. A ton of combo potential. I think it's roughly 1.7k the max combo, and when the combos get that high, there is a lot of potential for one player to really make the difference. So keep your eyes on players like Kamenchik and Zudinator, because you could potentially see some kind of solo carry if we see a couple unlucky slider breaks from either team, but it should be pretty quiet until we get into the first Ki. This is where the map really starts to pick up. You see some of those trickier sliders. The aim control picks up. The first miss is going to come from Kazakhstan, as so far so good. Does find one, dropping a lot of accuracy as well, and another miss. Slightly concerning in terms of comfort on this map. Canada, 4 players holding strong.
Yeah, this is not the type of map you want to lose that ACK on with the combo. Again, with Scorgy 2, having that lower accuracy crushes your score gain the second you find a break. Luckily for Kazakhstan, it's only the one right now, certainly able to bring this back. Dark Karate lower on the accuracy as well, 97%, although still holding that combo, which is what matters. Cut Paper really showing off on this map, high to mid 99% right now, right up there with the best of them. Turnoff the other super high ACK, 99.22, and climbing. But again, that extra FC on Canada right now with that one break, really giving them just the smallest of margins halfway through. And this is where we're going to start to get into that build up to that next Ki here, and we're looking for any other breaks, and from either side could throw this.
Yeah, as long as Kazakhstan holds on to these 3 big combos, they always have a chance back into this match, but at this point, holding those 3 combos is key. And here we go into the next Ki section, and Kazakhstan cannot afford a miss, but they find one. Canada has not matched, and they're going to start to really want to run away with this. The score bar shooting over to the left. It is a miss from Canada, Dark Karate, but at this point, Kazakhstan needs more to make the comeback. Kamenchik drops, and the situation is looking dire with a quarter of the map to go.
That is the nail in the coffin for Kazakhstan there. Turnoff with a valiant effort all the way through 2/3 of the map here, but Canada just looking far too strong on this sort of map right now, and you can see it through the accuracies as well. 98.8, 99.25, 99.03, and with Turnoff unfortunately finding a break. That is the last FC on Kazakhstan. So far so good with a pretty major combo, but at 97% accuracy, and unfortunately dropping it right there as well, right before this ending drop here. We are going to see Canada come through with, once again, another solid score gap, a little over 700k by the ending for this.
Yep, and if you are on Canada, it is nice to see these big score gaps and some good consistency early on. Canada have always been a stronger early game team. As I say that, we do see a miss into the ending from Pikapone, but it's not going to matter. They will take their score lead, and they're not going to worry about the miss at the end. They do still secure 2 FCs on Cut Paper, and Zudinator Cut Paper nearly slider broke on that slow slider.
Oh, playing with fire with that cursor dance there too. Oh, I'm looking for it.
It was a risky one, but now it's up to Kazakhstan to find the next pick. I thought they might opt into one of the DTs. Those are probably still going to be their best bets. They could try for something like Fremont 3 as well, but having just lost the alt pick, it's probably not going to go well for them. I think DT2 being banned out is unfortunate because there's not really much tapping left in the pool. Yeah, so it's not easy to find a pick for Kazakhstan here.
Yeah, I mean, we need like a Nomad 1 or a DT 1 potentially for them right now, are probably 2 of the stronger maps. I don't know if they want to go for that Hard Rock 1 against Canada. I think there's far too much variability in that slot with how strong they are as an overall roster. So, I mean, I'm really looking for those 1 slots right now. Some of the free mods look maybe a bit enticing, but I don't think that they're standard enough to feel confident picking that into Canada, especially with, you know, kind of what we talked about earlier, which is that Kazakhstan really doesn't have a whole lot of advantage on Hidden right now. So to force a player to have to play on Hidden for that free mod does effectively take out one of your players that may have been able to put up a slightly larger score. And that's not a position you want to put yourself in if you're Kazakhstan right now. But I think that That DT1 is probably going to be solid. Yep, and there it is from Kamenshik. I was going to say, not the DT3, way too old-style alti, I think, in Canada would just be very good at that. But this DT1 reigns pretty in line with what we expect for Kazakhstan.
Yes, it does. I think especially now, this is the best chance you're going to get on the DTs against Canada with Ryu K out, who's normally one of their best performers on these DT picks. Is certainly going to give Kazakhstan a better chance. That said, the DT1 is something they're going to be very capable of playing. We're going to see Zudinator, we're going to see Xylus for sure, and oftentimes I think you would expect to see Nick on a map like this, but I'm curious if for these rounds, something we mentioned, or you mentioned earlier, Chillier, is we'll see if they want to get a little bit of more experience for some of their newer players, like Pika Bon or Dark Karate, but okay, they are just going to put Nick in. They're not going to mess around, put in their best roster. Connor McDavid was in the lobby for a second. I'm not sure who that name change is, but quickly subbed out.
Bye-bye. We'll see you later. Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I think that especially, and again, on these early stages, there's so much variability, and you almost do want to focus more on the side of consistency rather than your skill cap players that would conventionally be on these slots. Now, very... by the way, that Connor McDavid, that's Ryu K. I totally blanked on what name you said, but that is Ryan. So he is here today. It looks like in for the DT1, which makes sense. And again, very consistent DT player with Ryu K, also very experienced OWC player. So you're really looking for that overall roster of who is just going to have a good time on a slightly longer DT pick here. And Kazakhstan's had some good scores on a couple of different players, although they have been spread across the two maps that have been played thus far, so they're really just looking to combine those into one map here. But looking at this Canadian DT roster, I would be very interested to see if Kazakhstan could take the upper hand on this DT one.
Yep, that's pretty much all you can hope for if you're Kazakhstan. I think player to watch out for on Kazakhstan is going to be Plombier, who has looked solid on some of the aim-focused DTs, or at least the qualifiers DT1. But here we go into the DT1. This is just of course your consistency-focused DT, standard kind of AR10, exactly what you'd expected of a DT1. And we'll see if, like Connor McDavid or UK, can get another point on the board for Canada, or if Kazakhstan is going to give themselves a chance in this match. It's going to be a pretty tame start to the map, I should think.
I agree. This is going to be a close map until we get to some of the key eyes, which are coming up now here. Some of these longer bursts may be looking to catch some players off guard with the switches in between those to a jump. Sometimes really get people. I am excited to see some break here from either side. It'd be great to see one from Canada to make this map a little bit interesting. I'm not wishing on their downfall, but I would love to see them maybe start in the rear on a map. We haven't really seen that thus far. It's just Fragrance of Page down about 50 combo.
Yeah, on a map this long, the 50 combo is going to be pretty relevant once we start to see misses come out, but are we going to see misses come out, Chillier? Both teams are looking really solid on this map. Accuracies are high. They've gotten both through the first half of the map without issue, and this is one of the more comfortable maps in the pool. Here we go, though, into the next Ki section shortly after this break, and it's going to be a big test. All the players see how close the map is. Kazakhstan very, very much still in this one. All it takes is one break from anyone on Canada, and Kazakhstan are going to take over the lead quickly.
So close. It is unbelievably close. The accuracy is the only thing holding up both of these teams right now, and we still have half the map to go effectively. There is plenty of opportunity for breaks here, and it's going to be that consistency that takes over. We have seen FCs through the entire first half, and Fragrance of Page, the only one to have found a miss at the beginning, is going to be the one to find the first major combo drop. And look how fast that score goes over to Canada. That's 100,000 score in effectively the amount of time that I have uttered this singular breath.
Yeah, there is one more Ki though. Can't count your chickens before they're hatched. All it takes is two misses from Canada, and Kazakhstan has the combo to bring this one back, but they find the miss first, and unfortunately now It's 4 FCs to 2. This Canada DT roster cannot be stopped. Connor McDavid, certainly the case. And now it's really just a question of how many points they can get. I have a feeling we're going to see a couple 4 million scores on this DT1. Canada, maybe one of them, but Zudinator will find at least one miss, so we're not going to see the 4-way. The 3-way looking very likely at this point.
Yeah, nothing to miss on really at the ending here. If we haven't seen something through that last jump section, we are not going to see it. And by God, Canada, that is 4.595.
Wow.
Oh, so close to 4.6 million, but what an unbelievable team score. And that's that consistency showing through. That's Canada's game. That's their early stage here, is that overall performance. And with 3 FCs, respectively, from Xylus, Ryuke, and Nick, and Zudi barely coming up short with a 1 miss, just 100 combo from the ending. It's Kamenshik and Conry once again for Kazakhstan, but they can't do it by 2s. They need at least 3 or 4 against a team like Canada, unfortunately.
And that's the difficulty of being one of the lower seeded teams, right? I think that some of the scores we've seen from Kazakhstan would be strong enough to beat quite a few teams in this tournament. But when you are the lower seeded team, especially in the first round, having good enough scores to beat a few teams just doesn't quite cut it. You really need to have top of the line scores if you want to move on. And Canada really exerting their dominance so far in this match, have had 3 wins by 700,000 or more points. Now we get the Hard Rock 2 that we've been looking out for. This is the map they top scored in the qualifiers, and I think we're going to get to see Sari come in, an absolute beast on the precision pick. She is just so incredibly good, and she's definitely going to be the player to watch. That said, it was Zudinator actually in qualifiers who had the 5th best Hard Rock 2 score in the tournament, so I think Kazakhstan is to need a miracle to take a point off of Canada here.
Yeah, there is something special about North American teams and Hard Rock, and I don't know how to put it with like these precision style maps, but every single time in OWC, Canada and the United States so good at these more, I would say technically intensive, because it certainly isn't a mechanics favored map, so technically intensive Hard Rock map, and at CS 6.5 throwing in that precision as well. This is another point that Canada just is so strong at. They were one of the better teams in qualifiers on the precision map, and they are looking to potentially put that in again. I can actually try and pull up. They were actually the number 1 team score from qualifiers on the precision map. They were the number 1 team score from qualifiers. So Canada's a good team at this, to say the least. And Kazakhstan, unfortunately, if you match up the stats, was about only halfway up the ladder to Canada, which is, it's a big ask, even on a round of 32 pool, for a team to get back in with that sort of performance.
Yeah, and actually, so far so good. Coming in here is quite surprising. My guess would be that Nezha is just not available for Kazakhstan. Is one of their stronger Hard Rock players, and so far so good, especially in qualifiers. Didn't touch the Hard Rocks at all, and essentially a little bit concerning. We'll have to see if so far so good can put up a solid score. And as you said, we'll see what Canada can do on a pick like this. I'm looking forward to watching Sari getting the nerves out early with a slider break. Going to be 3 combo behind. And Chillier, maybe for the first time this match, Kazakhstan, they have the combo advantage. This is huge.
They don't have the ACK, unfortunately. It's going to go over for a second, I think. Oh, I saw it. I see it. They did it. A lead early. It is not maintaining, though, the accuracy at the start for both teams suffering here. Look at this. Zudinator, Saryi, both 95, 96%. Kazakhstan, luckily, throwing them a bit of a bone here with so far so good. Plumbire and the Fragrance of Page all at 95, 94% as well. Kamenshik trying to put in that work early as usual. Again, already a quarter of the way through the map. This is not quite as long as that DT1 here, but it is still somewhat lengthy. There goes Dark Karate on one of those accelerating flow aim patterns there, dropping the first major combo of the map, actually, and that's going to help Kazakhstan close the gap of that accuracy just a little bit. It's at least going to make sure the score does not get out of hand here for Canada, and that's something that they like to see.
It certainly is, but the score lead should go back over barring any misses from Kazakhstan. And this, oh, there is a miss from Plombyre and Revexe. That is unfortunate. That lead is going to go right back over to Canada, but they do still have two big combos. They are still in it. Misses traded between Sari and So Far So Good. They need Kamenchik to realistically FC at this point, but the section to watch out for around 2/3 into the map, there's a big aim control section that might catch out some players on Canada. There is another miss from Dark Karate, but once again, traded. Eyes on those full combos. Sorry he finds the miss, but it doesn't really matter. Didn't have much combo anyways. Let's see if Kamenchik can do it. Here we go into the aim control section. There's a miss from Ryuk. That's one they need. They have the combo advantage now. The support is there. Plombyre finds the miss. Not going to be helping out, but they might need to see a miss from Zudi as well. So Far So Good drops the support as well, and now a miss from Zudi is necessary if they want to win.
They needed it in the first place there, too. Fragrance of Page only has 300 backing combo, and that's matched by Saryi and Ryuk combined here. Kamenchik can only do so much by themselves. Breaks on a quick snap that is fully done now for Kazakhstan, and Zudinator looking to pull this one into the finish. One of the harder maps in the pool this weekend has given us so many close back and forths with teams, and Canada struggling on this just a little bit more than we may have anticipated as a team, especially for the team to have the #1 precision score from qualifiers. But this is a tough map, and they ended up coming out on top as the team potentially with that consistency and skill cap overall, and that is going to be another close to 600,000 score victory for Canada, and it's not looking great for Kazakhstan, down 4-0. And this is what is potentially their final opportunity at getting a point on the board. It certainly is their final opportunity on their pick if Canada continues to take the road that they have been.
It certainly is, and I do want to give some credit to So Far So Good. Putting up 500k is a pretty solid score, considering that you wouldn't usually expect to have So Far So Good in for a map like this. So a good performance when you have to fill a map like this. Kazakhstan have not succeeded with the first two picks, but they could still do it with the third. There is the DT3, but at this point they haven't won the DT1, and it wasn't particularly close. Is there ever the Nomad 1? That's oftentimes considered to be the coin flip map in the early pools, but Canada is usually a fairly consistent team on those. Nomad 1, DT3, likely. I don't know that I see much else, to be honest.
I'm thinking I would like to see the Nomad 1 out of Kazakhstan right now. I think it plays the most into their skill sets of anything in here. I think that while we saw some okay stuff on that Hard Rock 2 from them, I think that Hard Rock 1 is probably a little, again, far out of their range. They certainly don't go for the Hidden 2 here against Canada. But they do end up going in for the free mod, so they're going in for that free mod 2. They're opting in to picking a control-based pick, and I'm not going to speculate this one too much, because we've talked about how Kazakhstan was not the strongest hidden team overall, but on free mod, you only need one strong hidden player over an entire team worth. So if Kazakhstan does have a strong hidden player, and we certainly know that a player like Kamenchik can play Hard Rock, then there is a chance that they might have two Nomad players that could match up on this. But again, I mean, this is a control-based pick. This is something Canada has proven themselves to be good at for the past, 5 years of OWC? I would be excited to see Kazakhstan take a point against Canada on this, but they would have to do it in style.
Yeah, and I do think, like you said, Kazakhstan only needs that one player, and they do have players that are good on the hidden. They have, I think it's either going to be Revexe, or if we see Turnifus come in, I could see either of them taking the hidden, quite possibly Kamenchik on the Hard Rock. But Canada, over the years, they love to overmod these early round free mods, not just, taking a hidden on your Hard Rock player. We've regularly seen them with 5, 6, sometimes more mods especially Zudinator. I know really likes to take the hidden hard rock, although on a map like this, CS 5.2 base, so 6.76 with hard rock, I don't think we're going to see any hard rock overmods. More likely to see a couple extra hiddens, and I do think if Zudinator does take the hard rock, she'll add the comfort hidden as well. And so Canada certainly have not shied away from overmodding maps like these in the past. There is Turnifus, maybe coming in for the hidden, but could also play the no mod on this one. I think is just more comfortable on this side of the map. Here we go, Kazakhstan. One more chance to keep themselves in this match. Canada looking to make it a clean sweep in their first match of the 2024 OSU World Cup, and it is an overmod. Hidden hard rock for Xylus and Zudinator. Cut paper is taking the hidden, and then we've got Kamenchik hidden, and actually it's going to be Revexi and Plombyre on the hard rock, so maybe Kazakhstan feeling a little bit pressured to overmod as well.
Well, they had a little bit of a disagreement in chat, it seemed, about who was taking the hard rock on this map, and it looked like it was between Plombyre and Fragrance of Page here, and, well, Plombyre looking to be the one on the hard rock. 98.9% accuracy out of the gate does speak confidence, and Fragrance of Page, who was told to not take the hard rock, sitting at 93%, so I don't know, maybe Kamenchik had a little bit of insight onto that. It's the first break for both teams from the beginning, one that Kamenchik found on the hidden. Fragrance of Page and Ryuke both trading out a miss. That does come alongside a break from Xylus on that hidden hard rock, but it's Cut Paper and Zudinator on the hidden and hidden hard rock, still holding strong. It's Plombyre for Kazakhstan right now. They are the only ones even remotely holding this team up, and looking fairly confident. 97% accuracy, high 97, still very reasonable and respectable for hard rock on this map. It does tend to make nerves a little bit more accentuated when you get this circle size, especially on hard rock, but doing well to maintain it, and Canada continuing to hold the lead that they have for the majority of the match. Cut Paper finding a break, however, made it interesting until Plombyre found the break, and now it's just going to be Zudinator into the finish. Once again, Kamenchik and Turnifus can do nothing against this onslaught, and that's going to be this number 6 seed on top.
Yes, it is, and it feels like that extra hard rock from Fragrance of Page, Revexi, really made the difference. This map feels significantly easier on the no mod, and I guess it was 700,000 points in the end, so probably wouldn't have mattered, although it could have been a much higher score. And Canada, as you said, they're going to be moving on to the next round of the winners bracket. Kazakhstan, they did have some good scores, put up a decent fight, but they will drop to the losers bracket. In Canada, they're going to be playing the winners of our next match, Poland versus Ukraine. That's going to be a good one as well.
That is going to be a very good match. That'll be, like you said, immediately after, at about 20 minutes here on the A stream coming up. We had an interesting, kind of theory coming into this match today that it could have been closed. This is a bit of an easier pool, but in the end, Canada continues to prove year after year that they are just simply an early stage team, regardless of how strong their opponents are. They will come out on top in style, and the round of 32 is once again theirs quite handedly for one of our North American representatives, the North American representative. And like you said, next match will determine their opponent.
Yes, it will. The Canadian consistency shines through one more time. Our next match is 20 minutes from now, Poland versus Ukraine on the A stream. And at the same time on the B stream, we're going to have Romania versus Brazil, two very good ones. So that's going to be it for us temporarily. We will see you guys back here in 20 minutes. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Stick around for the next couple of matches, and we'll see you soon.
I'm Willie, and I'm here to ask OSU World Cup players the questions we've all wanted answers to. Today, I'm talking to Zudinator from Canada. Her team placed third in the 2020 OSU World Cup, and since then she's been playing numerous tournaments and constantly working to improve her skill level. Will she be able to lead her team to a podium finish this year? Hello, Zootinator. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Just got off my 2-week subathon now, as of today.
As a player who proudly uses full area on an already large tablet, do you have to be extra careful not to hurt your hands, or is this not a huge concern?
I feel like it's not really a concern for me these days, but I remember earlier in my career, I was getting a lot of tennis elbow actually. This is like when I first started playing DT. I would get a lot of tennis elbow in my right arm, and then I would have to force myself to take a week off until I got better, but I kind of min-max my playstyle and my movement. I don't really get that much anymore.
Everyone figures stuff out slowly over time.
It's been 11 years, what can I say?
Once again, you drew a great OSU World Cup collab for your country. How long did the full illustration take to complete?
Well, thank you, first of all. Those, honestly, are really fast, especially considering that I came back from TwitchCon, and I did that in, I think, 3 days or something.
Oh, wow.
It really didn't take long at all. But I also don't stream them at all or anything like that, so I kind of just turbo focus them and then get them out of the way.
In 2024, you became the first Canadian to win the North America tournament in a decade. How did it feel to defeat all of the other players on the entire continent?
It felt really weird because I've been playing that tournament for a while now. Sorry in advance for birds squeaking. I think that was my 3rd year playing, and I always want to keep my skill up. I always want to be one of the better tournament players, at least, and to be one of the best in NA of that year. Like, it changed my perspective, you know, like, Auntie still got it kind of thing. It keeps making me want to keep going, really. Like, I still have more in me, and that tournament's really fun as well.
After the World Cup concludes, the Canadians seem to always meet up and get dinner somewhere. Do you know what's on the menu this year yet?
I don't know yet, but the Vancouver people always love to meet up for some Korean barbecue.
Of course.
That's just a once in a while thing, yeah, so it's gotta be Korean barbecue again.
Probably.
Always.
You've been working on playing a lot of faster maps, and it started to pay off. In the past, did it ever feel like you would never reach the BPMs you can now?
Yeah, I think even now, there's some things that I can never reach, but with any skill, you look back and you see the progress, even though it's really slow.
All the things that felt impossible, you just see, wow, I was actually able to do that.
Yeah, and it keeps going up as the years go by. Like, it's never ending as long as you're open to learning and trying new techniques. I think, yeah, no issue.
Could we potentially see Zooty in on an early round speed pick this year?
All I'm saying is your girl got a B rank, almost FC on DT3 in qualifiers, so
Okay.
it's looking possible. Maybe not late stage, but
Anything could happen. Whenever you're not in a tournament, you always have Hidden turned on. Do you think tournaments should let players choose to use Hidden on any pick?
that's a really good question, Lily. I'm not sure if I put that much thought into it. I obviously prefer, yeah, if a tournament has Hidden optional, but I don't know if it's that much of a detriment to Hidden players to not have it optional, because I think that Hidden in itself is its own skill set. So people that aren't good at Hidden, you know, let's get to work, right? Like, let's get some reading going.
It's definitely one of those divisive mods. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, literally.
In the 2023 World Cup, Canada was able to consistently provide surprising results, such as winning handily against Germany early on and being the first team to win a match against the United States in years. Is your team planning to keep ruining everyone's pick'em results?
Of course. There's no question about it, of course.
Of course.
We have 2 newbies this year and we have some returning players. I think we'll always have some tricks up our sleeve as long as we keep everything fresh, you know?
Is there anything you could tell us about the new players? Like, what did they specialize in?
I'm not gonna say that.
Oh.
All I'll say is they have been... Excuse me. Thank you. These new players that we have been trying out for multiple years. And they haven't gotten worse. They've gotten much better as I've seen them progress, so...
They're like your secret weapons.
They might be. You just have to wait and see.
Well, thank you for coming out here and being interviewed, Zooty.
I think it really was fun. Sorry about my birds again, but
No problem.
it is what it is.